Let's talk about how you can teach yourself A-level H2 chemistry. It is overwhelming, it is gloomy, it is hopeless. But it also doesn't have to be like that. Today, I want to make your learning curve less steep by breaking it down into 3 distinct levels, from beginner to intermediate to advanced. And if you can follow what I'm going to be sharing, you could number 1, save tons of time, number 2, large sums of money from going for tuition classes, and most importantly, number 3, bring up your grades like how I climbed from an E in my promos to B in my prelims and eventually clinching an A for the actual A levels, all without any tuition. So in the beginner stage, this is where I assume that you have completely zero knowledge of the topic that you want to learn. So first things first, scan the learning outcomes or LOs for the topic, which is typically on the very first page of your topic in the lecture notes. This is a very important step, yet often overlooked by many students, which I myself am guilty of. So please do not ignore them because the LOs are directly obtained from SEAB or the official exam board, and it is practically a summarized checklist of what you need to know in order to sit for the A-level exams. So with that said, in order to not just learn but also master the topic that we want to learn, we need to conquer every single one of these LOs or concepts. To do this, I recommend a method called the game checkpoint approach. Let me explain. You see, when you play a game, be it first-person shooters or nowadays your favorite MLBB or even cat games, all of them have different levels or ranks that you need to clear before you can climb to the next one. Similarly, you should also learn the concepts in chronological order one by one. So only when you have fully understood this particular concept, its meaning, its applications, or even how to use this concept to apply it to a work example, then can you move on to learn the next concept. For example, when you're just learning about the concept of how to draw the dot and cross diagrams of polyatomic ions or solving back titration calculation questions, make sure that you utilize the work examples that is already embedded in your lecture notes and ensure that you get all of them correct before moving on to learn the next thing. This is extremely important as more often than not, each concept links to the previous one in one way or another. And if you fail to do this, your lack of proper understanding of each concept will snowball into a huge misunderstanding of the entire topic, which will only serve to bring in more stress and more chaos into your life. This is especially so when exams are drawing near because you will highly likely find that you have forgotten most of what you have already studied because you did not do the work to build a solid foundation. But once you have finished this, you can now level up and enter into the next stage of your learning curve. Now, I like to think of the intermediate stage just like the awkward stage of growing out your hair, because you are sandwiched in between being a complete noob and being an exam-ready academic weapon. In this stage, you are assumed to be able to briefly explain to me any concept or how it works and able to do your tutorial questions without being stuck for too long. What you are lacking, which is also what we should be emphasizing on, is practice, practice, and more practice. Doing questions is arguably the best way to get direct feedback on how much you've understood a concept and how well you can apply them. And doing more of these can expose you to the type of questions that usually come out and how they are phrased, and if they ask this in a certain way, you will know exactly what they are looking out for. Make as many mistakes as possible. It is completely normal and even encouraged. Now, I've been in your shoes before, so I completely understand that there's always no time to do anything. But many doesn't have to be 100 questions. It doesn't even need to be 10 questions. If for whatever reason this week you can only squeeze in 3 questions, I actually think that it is very commendable. I am all for celebrating progress over perfection. You see, everyone is now obsessed about results, but everything you want to succeed as a student, whatever rank points that you want to get or whatever university course that you want to enter, all comes down to not obsessing about the results but obsessing about your own progress. The key idea that I want to drill into your head today is to be consistent so that you will not lose your momentum. Just the thought and action of wanting and actually squeezing time to do even just one question will go a very, very long way. Trust me. Everything is about momentum. And preferably once you have generated an unstoppable momentum, the next stage will become much easier and, dare I say, more enjoyable because we can finally stop learning any more new topics because it's exam season. In this stage, it is all about doing things that will maximize getting what you want, results. And the best way to do this is to simulate the actual exams over and over again until it becomes second nature to us. This can greatly minimize any stress and uncertainty as you will be less likely to be caught off guard during the actual exams as you will have known the format of the different exam papers. The closer you simulate exam conditions, the higher the chance that you will feel more rehearsed. This means sitting through your practice papers in one sitting under time conditions, in a quiet environment without any music or distractions. And once you are done sitting through the entire paper, can you then start to check the answer key, self-mark, do corrections, fill in your knowledge or content gaps, record your score, analyze your weak and strong topics, and repeat. More about that here.